I've been watching so many things today, just sitting back and watching and asking myself, when are people going to really understand what's happening? What do you think? I received, and I get some great emails, and one was really good. I wanted to read it almost if you read it in a Hannibal Lecter voice, it would be almost like something to the effect of, they will find the truth. They will themselves read into the actual truth. They will see what is happening. They will look at the various patterns, and they will see as they run the tape, and they will see as they look back that we've seen this before, that we know what is happening. We know, and I'm thinking to myself, there's nobody who is going to be listening to you. No, you don't understand. Imagine you actually have the information as to the identity of an actual killer, and nobody listens to you. That's the way it is for us. We have so much to say. Nobody will listen to us. Nobody. It's incredible. Nobody dares to even address this. This is, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things. The Jimmy Carter funeral and other things as well. But we live in a world where we see so much stuff. And we love to point things out. And we're the only ones who care anything about it. We're the only ones who care anything. We are so filled with the ability to dig deep and to look deep into the reasons of what's happening, the patterns, perhaps weapons that nobody's even interested in what we have to say. We're talking amongst ourselves. Nobody's listening. They're saying, wow, this is Santa Ana. And the best part is, you fools, don't be swayed by the arson. Don't you understand what they're doing? They're throwing you off. They're making it's almost like not a false flag. I don't want to keep using that term, but it's almost as though they're picking an example to say, don't worry about this. See, it's not anything nefarious. It's these arsonists. Do you believe that an arsonist on the side of the road with a container of gasoline could somehow start the level and the fury from no. They're doing everything in their power to say, no, it's just the Santa Ana winds. And not only that, they don't want to tell you anything more. They're just saying, oh, and my favorite is Bass and his others saying the reason why the water doesn't work is because of the use, the demand. But that's what fire hydrants do. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back. Get ready for the time of your life, because tonight we're going to be talking about that. The discussions between Mr. Obama and President Trump. Kamala's absolute horror by what she was seeing. And more importantly, do you remember years ago at the George W. Bush funeral? Remember the envelope in the hymnal or in the program? Whatever happened to that? What was that about? Listen carefully, my friends. This is going to be a great show. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking proverbial butt and working out and staying active. And what's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left for his grandkids. Now, he did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s, and his wife even started doing the one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking on the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. And once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. And you won't believe how simple it is. And just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old and yet has more energy than he ever has. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description box below at chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Now, a couple of things. Let's go through the fun parts of this today that we like to look through because it's who we are. It's our nature. It's what we're all about. It's this idea of we love to point things out, and we love to point things out to people who should know better. If you looked today, you had to ask yourself the following question. Have you ever seen a more boring funeral or memorial in your life? Did you see Stephen Ford? Remember Stephen Ford from his days of the I forget what soap opera it was, but Stephen Ford. Oh my God. Amy Carter. Oh my God. Haven't seen these people. Did you know that I think all of Amy's brothers are like in their 70s and she's 57 or something? There's like a 20-year gap. Okay, fine. It was the most, and I thought the worst is Walter Mondale's son. Dear God, I screamed, let this be over. Let this be over. It was absolutely the most horrific boredom I think I've ever been through. But I was listening to it in the background. But a couple of things I wanted to see. First and foremost, they're all going to be on camera. They're all going to be watched. And there's going to be lip readers. They should have used the old thing that Spilotro did and during Casino where they talk like this. And the first thing you have to notice is, did you see Kamala's attitude when she walked in, made no contact? She's with Doug. She did not look at Trump. Trump shook hands with Al Gore. Trump shook hands with Mike Pence. Mike Pence is a gentleman. Donald Trump is a gentleman. But there was Kamala. What did you think of that? Is that interesting? You think she would say, I'm going to be the classiest thing. I am going to exude panache. Why don't you think she did it? She doesn't want to be president. This is her chance for somebody to say to her, now listen, you're going to go in there and you might be upset. You might be whatever it is, but you got to understand something. They're going to be watching you. And you've got to act like the regal queen of the show. Where was Michelle? Interesting. And then we saw some other things too. George Bush still is like this frat boy. He still has this young kind of an impish, he kind of points and Laura's looking like, oh God, I got me. Bill Clinton is looking so bad. His face is looking absolutely, not horrible. He looks frozen, dare I say, frozen in this paralyzed rictus. He's frozen. And Hillary, of course, mad, angry, the harridan, not the Miratrix, but the virago, the shrew, angry. Again, you would think, I'm not going to run. I'm going to act like I'm in charge of everything. And whatever happened to Al Gore and Tipper? Whatever happened with that? Remember that? There was some kind of the masseuse or something. I don't know. But then it happened. Kamala looks over and she sees Obama and Trump, and they were so buddy-buddy, it wasn't even funny. And it's funny when you think about what Obama said once upon a time.
John Kelly, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, said that Trump told him he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. Now, don't boo, vote. Now, I want to explain that in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like Hitler.
Isn't that something? Now, watch this again. Now, first of all, may I ask you something, ladies? What do you think of Melania's outfit? I know this is cheap. I know this is base. But I want you to really answer the question. And I want you to forget who it is. Don't feel like you have to say, she looks beautiful. Her hair, listen to me, I sound like I'm part of the red carpet. But even the outfit, what is this? She looks like a vicar. What do you think about that? Come on. Shelby says she looks terrible. Sorry. Yeah. Funeral dress for sure. Yeah, maybe black. What about those winged collars? Rachel says, didn't love it. Blue Ridge said, awful. I thought it was terrible. I thought Melania was dressed as a Puritan. Absolutely, Denise. Denise says absolutely. Walmart clearance. Pilgrimage dress. Vicar of Dibley. She looks pissed. Alyssa says, I like it. Okay, there's always one. Her mother passed on this day. They raided her room. I don't know what that means. Melania was dressed down, so hopefully she wouldn't be noticed. What? She didn't want to be there, and I don't blame her. How do you know these things? Why would you wear this? She looks like the flying nun, like Sister Bertriel. Also, I don't understand something. Normally, and this is just me, but normally her hair is very, very well, whatever, clips or whatever. Look, I don't want to be childish about this stuff, but I thought to myself, this is very odd. I don't understand it. I don't get it. She can't dress looking, like she's trying to be the belle of the ball. I understand it. I dig that. But what I don't understand, what I don't dig is, what's the matter with that? The hair? But that's not it. Did you see them chatting? It was beautiful. Absolutely, positively, 100% beautiful the way they spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, George Keene, rarely seen, says, Melania outfit looks like a pilgrim lady outfit from 1620. That are like some French judge robes. Yes, it looked right. It looked like some strange judiciary. And I was very, very, very surprised by it. But that's neither here nor there. And if it is neither here nor there, where is it? Where is it? Now, shall we talk about Karen Bass? This story gets better and better. This is LA for you. By the way, she's not DEI. She was elected. She was elected flat out. Now, there's a fellow who is very, very good, and he speaks, and everybody was quoting him today with much frequency. In the event you lost it, merry-go-round screams, what is wrong with you people? Melania is awesome. What are you, 10? She's awesome. Would you pick that out? People get remember, this is fan club politics. That's my Melania. Don't talk about her. Please. We love her. She's fantastic. She's going to be terrific. She's wonderful. Do you possess the ability to be at all remotely objective? Is it possible for you to be objective? Is it possible for you to be objective? Is everything beautiful about Melania and everything that Donald Trump, is that the way it's going to be? Is that the way it's going to be? Why would you not like Melania? What is the matter with people? People are writing. One person in particular. Who says nobody likes her? Do you see this? This is childish. I don't think it's legit. But let us. George Keane, rarely seen, seldom seen, says, Karen Bass, she's gonna have problems. Get it? Get it? I like that. Very funny. Very good indeed. Very punny, but put you in the penitentiary. Let's talk about this story, shall we?
November 7, 1983. Remember this date, but first, let me introduce you to Karen Bass. Back in the 1970s, community activist Karen Bass went on at least 15 trips to Cuba, many with a group known as the Venceremos Brigade, a Marxist group started by the Castro regime to subvert American interests, weaken democracies, and spread communism around the world. Founded in 1969, the Venceremos Brigade organized trips to Cuba every year for half a century. They attracted the most radicalized and delusional segments of the American left, including overtly Maoist and pro-Soviet communist groups. In fact, a Los Angeles police investigator who infiltrated the group testified to Congress saying that to be a member of the brigade, you had to be confirmed as a Marxist-Leninist. As a brigadista and then moving up the ranks to organizer for the Venceremos Brigade, Karen Bass visited Cuba every 6 months.
Whoa!
Their mission? To radicalize young, impressionable American leftists in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare. Members of the Venceremos Brigade were even taught how to make bombs.
Jesus Christ!
Karen Bass admits, on her many pilgrimages to Cuba, she went to see Fidel Castro speak several times, even calling him charismatic. Upon his death, praised him, saying, "The passing of Commandant en Jefe is a great loss to the people of Cuba, even though the people of Cuba see him as a dictator who impoverished their island." Another group, the M19, took its belief in revolutionary anti-imperialism to extremes, violent extremes. The M19 was the first and only women-created and women-led domestic terrorist group. Since their founding in 1978, M19's tactics escalated from robbing armored trucks and abetting prison breaks to building their own explosives and carrying out terrorist bombings. From 1983 to 1984, M19 bombed an FBI office, the Israel Aircraft Industries building, the South African consulate in New York, DC's Fort McNair, and Navy Yard, which they bombed twice. But that wasn't enough for them. On the night of November 7, 1983, the M19 called the US Capitol switchboard and warned them to evacuate the building. Minutes later, the M19 bombed the north wing of the US Capitol. November 7, 2023 marks 40 years since the M19's bombing of the US Capitol. Members of the M19, like Susan Rosenberg, traveled to Cuba with and were radicalized by the Venceremos Brigade. The South Los Angeles Venceremos Brigade was led by Karen Bass, who is now mayor of Los Angeles.
So what do you think about that? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Isn't that just an amazing story? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Doesn't that make you see it? Christo Stavru, by the way, our birthday boy today. Our love for you, brother CS, the honey man. Bless your heart. Send your love out to him. Send your love to Christos, brother CS. Been with us since day one. So what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Well, first and foremost, I got to say something. I get a little careful when people use the word too much Marxist things. You know, I'm just saying that those are words, those are terms that have been known to be used a little bit too much in the past. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen, just saying. I was just not really sure if people really were kind of digging that whole thing. But for the most part, here is the story. Do you know why people like Karen Bass is there? Why do you think that is? Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer my question. You don't have to, but I want you to really use your head. Why do you think somebody, and people knew of her pedigree, her provenance, so to speak. Where do you think that came from, and why do you think that is? George Keane, rarely seen on the scene, says, with Karen and the V Brigade, how did she get to Cuba and when it was forbidden? Also ironic that she's of color and Castro was rather racist. Oh, absolutely. I remember, another big Cuba fan who would go there once, I believe on his actual honeymoon was our own Bill de Blasio, the former mayor. Why do you think this is? Why do you think? Why would somebody who has been radicalized, ostensibly radicalized, people of the 60s, the Black Panthers and that whole Eldridge Cleaver and H. Rap Brown and Stokely Carmichael and all that, the same thing with people like Jerry Rubin and whatever. I mean, Jerry Rubin to an extent, and Abby Hoffman was really more of a prankster. But what do you think? Explain to me this connection. Why is Karen Bass there? Why? What do you think? They're on a mission. Somebody writes they're on a mission. They're on a mission. What does that mean? Why? What is the point? How did we know this now? Do you know anything? Do you think anything will come of her now after they looked at her, they knew she was incompetent. What do you think it was? I'll tell you what it was. It's a very, very simple thing. And it's a very brutal thing. And I just finished on my private channel. I can talk about this at length. When there are people who come forward, when you say, here is Karen Bass, rather. Interesting pun. What they're saying is, she's black. She's black. Number one, she might not say that. That's not on her campaign literature. That's precisely what they're saying. Does that make sense to you? Vote for her. She's black. It's about time we get our folks. She's black. You dig? She's radical. Okay. She's black. Say no more. She's black. I got it. She has short hair. Oh. Okay. She's black. Okay. And Kamala loves her. Oh, okay. All right. And she settled this down. All right. Okay. And somehow, folks, if you vote for this black woman with the short hair and the whole bit, you will benefit somehow. Now, whether you're white, if you're white, you're not going to benefit unless you'll benefit because you will feel good by virtue of being a part. This is kind of like virtue signaling. George Keane, fairly mean, says the media give a pass to commie sympathizers. A fifth column, but if a Spanish Franco supporter moved to America and got into politics, you never let him live it down. They don't know what a Franco supporter is. Franco-American? James Franco? Franco Harris? They have no idea who Franco is. But thank you for that. It's a good point. But what it is they work like this. I'm a liberal, radical left. I'm a progressive, whatever. And I believe in black people, gay people, trans people, gay trans people, non-binary gay trans black people with short hair, non-binary trans people with gay hair, whatever. This is what I believe in. Sam I Am says, look at the bright side. If Kamala won, the whole world would be up in flames. Perhaps, Sam I Am. Thank you. George Keane, rarely seen, says Dante de Blasio's Afro pick. I remember. That's exactly why he was remembered. But my friends, I know this. People don't understand this. George brings up a good point. When Bill de Blasio ran for mayor, he said, okay, I'm Bill de Blasio. I got a black wife. What? I got a black wife. You got a black wife. She was a lesbian, but reversed. She was a lesbian. Was? Yeah, she was. Okay. And she's, yeah. Shirlane was his wife. Okay. And now they're, I think she's back. She's back on the home team, and he's out and about, or I don't know what the hell it is. But anyway, she was a lesbian. I said, what do you mean, was a lesbian? Yeah, she's black and was a lesbian. Oh, cha-ching, cha-ching. Perfect. George Keane, never green, says, James Franco, you slay me, Mr. Al. Thanks. Indeed, sir. So anyway, one day they were doing something. They were doing these. Nobody knew who Bill de Blasio was. He was a thing called the public advocate. Wait a minute, Warren Ocasio has something to say. I am doing some serious soul searching, wondering if I am horrible for not feeling more empathy for the people affected by the wildfires, given how many years of incompetent forest and water mismanagement they have tolerated. I'm going to stop right now for 1 second, and I want to address Mr. Ocasio. And thank you for your generosity. Thank you. How many people have never said this before, but I want you to answer me. How many people actually are happy that those rat bastards had everything wiped out because you hate them and their politics and they think they're better than you and they live in the here and they're hoist by their own petard or hoist by their own retard, and they put up with this bullshit for all these years, and now it came back to bite them on the ass. So F you, buddy. You hated Trump and you walked around with all this stuff with your masks and this and your trans kids, and you know what? It came back. The same way people were happy that fellow, the CEO, the healthcare CEO, was whacked. How many of you? Come on. Don't give me that bullshit. There's a part of you that says, well, let me ask you something. If you had a way, if I'm God, and I say to you, okay, look, I'll make a deal with you. There's a fire coming. What? There's a big fire coming. There is, yep. And it's going to go one of two places. One, it's going to go to a low-income housing, someplace out in the whatever. Or it's going to go to Palisades, Pacific Palisades and Eaton and all these other places. Hollywood, Malibu. Which one would you pick? I'm God. You got to pick one or the other. And if you don't pick one, I'm going to do them both. You got to pick one. Which one are you going to go? You've got to say Malibu or something in, I don't know, Compton, or I don't even know the area. What would you pick? What would you pick? You know exactly what you would do. You know exactly. There is something called schadenfreude. And schadenfreude, leave it to the Germans. Leave it to the Germans to say, to have this word, this concept for taking delight in the pain or the suffering of others. And it's something that people do. Gore Vidal said, I'm only happy if my enemies do worse than I do, or something like that. He was flat out. George Keane, the mean machine, says, agree with Warren. Was it DE weapons? Bad? Management? Always plausible? Literally kindling on the fire? Who gets fixed faster? California or North Carolina with DJT? Thank you. Nobody cared a damn thing about North Carolina. Nobody cared about them. Nobody cared about that. All of a sudden we're doing this. You have to ask yourself a question. And this is going to be the most difficult thing for you to do. If you feel something that you know you're not supposed to feel, but you feel it, can you help it? Do you know how many people in the world of all colors hate other people of all colors? Not all colors. But do you know how many people said, I'll tell you what I think. You're not going to believe what I think. Everybody has something that they believe in. And it's just a feeling. They don't actively involve themselves. They don't, you know that P word? You know that P word that people use to talk about predation? We don't want to say it here. Do you know how many people say, yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I get turned on by that stuff. Yeah, I do. Yeah, big time. I don't do anything. I don't break any laws, but yeah, I feel like that. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with you? Yes or no? Is there something wrong with you? If you say, I'm dead. When I saw Paris Hilton with her Malibu spare beach house, I didn't care. I'm kind of happy because I don't like her and that stupid sister married to a Rothschild. How about that? See, people have this idea that your brain, your soul is supposed to be pure. It doesn't have to be pure. You can think whatever you want. Just don't do anything. That's the privacy of your own thought. That's the privacy. George Keene, Mr. Green, says, when was the last time you saw a Mexican forest fire? When was the last time you saw a bald Mexican? Huh? Something about that. I don't know what it is. It might be almost like a Native American thing. All those people who hated Trump, all those people who said, good, eat it. The reason why, well, let me ask you something. Better yet, what is the reason for the fire? Go ahead. You said it. Directed energy weapons. Any proof of that? Any proof? Come on. Any proof? Get to the point. I know that's what you want to talk about. That's what you say. You say it all the time. Any proof of that? Let me show you something. Let me give you a little inspiration. Look at this.
Moments after I saw it, the clouds just cleared, and I can tell you this is the most devastating event that I've seen. I've seen the earthquakes, all the fires here over the last 30 or 40 years, and we've never seen anything like this. This is Pacific Palisades, and the fire went through here, and it just took out thousands of homes all the way down to the shoreline. I mean, to describe it, really, it looks like a war zone. Now, the winds have died down a little bit right now, so they can make some progress, and as I mentioned, the smoke just cleared. This is the first time we were able to get in here and see the destruction. That's the village in Pacific Palisades. But as you can see, row after row after row, every single home burned right down to the foundation. Fortunately, this fire, we're not hearing about any fatalities. The other fire out in Altadena and Pasadena, we've had at least 5 people killed in that one. Fortunately, everyone got out of this, but look at the devastation. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's hard to describe how bad this is.
Yep, it is. Now, let me ask you a question. Nelson says, Elon, free of charge, will put up LA Starlink. Senator Swalwell says Elon to help the poor and spend his billions, and our billions go overseas. Indeed. Elon could just, but the point is, why do we have Starlink everywhere for free? I want you to think about something. I want to talk about DEW for a moment. But I want you to listen to me about something else which is important. I was reading of a story right now. Credit card debt is through credit card debt, and I was just reading credit card debt, and also not foreclosures, but credit card whatever the phrase is, foreclosures are through the roof right now. Why? Why? I have an idea. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even help negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. My friends, our good friend George Keene says, my Mex comment was that Mexico has great forest management. California doesn't. With DE weapons, I don't know. But if you had them, wouldn't you use them? Blame nature? Let me ask you a very simple question. Okay? Here is my plane. Where is my plane? I've got this plane, okay? I know this is a cover for a phone, but this is a plane, okay? And this is equipped. Where are these weapons? Are they on satellite? Are they on planes? Where are they? Come on. Answer my question. Where are they? Are they in satellites? Are they in planes? Where are they? Anybody? Come on, you talk about them all the time. Where are they? How are they? What's the delivery platform for them? What is it? Air. Well, okay, they're in the air. In space or in the air? Satellite. You think they're in the air? I mean, like the satellite and this beam, you think they're in the lower Earth orbit. Now it's lower Earth orbit. Lower Earth orbit. How many of these beams, these must be done to take out an entire area? Let's say, for example, there's a house we don't like. We have a grid. Take out this house. Okay. Now, the house has nothing to do with the forest. It's not in the forest. It's not in dry grass. Nothing like that. It's a house on Malibu. What happens to it? Those that know, you don't know, and ain't talking. Answer my question. How does this work? Smart meters? Smart meters? You say what? The smart meters do what? What? You think that if all of a sudden remember, there's this plane flying, or this, I don't think it's a satellite, because that's because people see it, but there's a plane. And some of the lasers do not necessarily, you can't see them. Anyway, so they shoot this beam, right? So what happens to it? What happens? How many beams do you have to hit to remotely cause fire? How many? Ionospheric plasma? What are you talking about? I want to know what happens. If we want to go on and say, okay, do this again. All right, we'll do it again. What do? Well, we got some planes, lower orbit. What happens then? George Keene, rarely seen, says, said with love, Mr. L, I have no idea, but imagine. How does this work? The answer is, you don't know. You may say, well, I can take out one target, okay, or I can take out one thing, or okay, fine. But if I were to say, I want you to erase Pacific Palisades, erase it, There's no brush. That's over in the woods, so to speak, in the forest. What about here? How does this happen? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. We say it, but we don't know, well, how does this thing work? You know how many beams you would have to have? George Keane, the mean machine, says, Lahaina, what happens there? I'm incredulous. Okay, we're incredulous, but let's go back to this. The only thing we know is that we don't necessarily see how this type of fire could be this strong, this fast, and this widespread. There is something. The burn patterns, it just so happens there's no water, just so happens that there's no ability to fight anything back. Okay, fine. But they've had this before. They've had fires before. How did it spread so fast? And let's assume it spreads up in the Palisades. You've got houses on Malibu on Pacific Coast Highway right there. What is that? What does that have to do with the fire in the woods? What? How does this work? Wind. The answer is, you don't know. You don't know. You've never thought about this before. You're not really sure. I mean, you know, there are things called directed energy weapons, lasers, microwave. Yeah. We know that. But you're not sure. You don't know. You're not sure if they're airborne from low orbit. I like this. You don't think anybody's going to say, excuse me, yes, hi, our Russian friends, yeah, they just picked up on this. They've got satellites too, and they're seeing, they've got these laser detectors, and they see this. You can't unleash what we believe to be, is it one beam, one shot, what is it? We don't know. We have no idea. We just talk about this like it's this mystical, magical weapon system. We don't know how it works. We don't know what it does. We know that the story doesn't make any sense. We know that the amount of fire and the conflagration are not in any way consistent with any model, a weapons model that we can come up with, but we have no idea. We have no clue. But we say it. And it's translation for we're not buying it. But we have this idea that somehow they can just turn on this thing and everything's lit up. And it'll hit something and bring it to a temperature that is so great that I don't know. Nobody can explain it. Nobody. And what happens is, what I love about a lot of people, they will just answer the reason why is because it's you see, and they just make it up. They just make it up instead of saying, I've never fired a directed energy. I have no idea. You ever seen one work? Any other patterns of fire before? Well, we say Lahaina, and there's a Chile and others, and we talk about Agenda 21. But do we know how it works? No, but people will just make it up. I'll give you an example. There was an event that occurred on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago, soon to be 24 years ago. And there was a story about a plane that it was, I think the number 93 was the number that was affixed to that particular flight. And it was flying around a place called Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And I said, okay. And this is the story that was told to me. So they were flying, and there were some bad guys who commandeered and took over the cockpit. And a lot of brave folks, including a guy named Todd Beamer, whose wife we never heard from again. I don't know where I think a friend of mine once went to try to find his grave. And I mean, he was miraculous. But he was the one who said, let's roll. And this was told to us. This was a story. Kind of like the way people are with directed energy weapons. They will say these things and they say it as well. Anyway, so I would say, how do you know that he said, let's roll? How do you know that? Who heard that? Who heard it and recorded it? Who let the world know that phrase? And that was it. Let's roll. Who said it? Don't tell me they were on cell phones. They didn't have the technology then. Who said this? Why are you attributing it to this person? How do you know? Did somebody say, this for the record? Yes. If anybody asks, a guy named Todd Beamer said, let's roll. Okay? How do we know this? Question number one. Number two, how do we know anything that happened? Anything? Who left a narrative? I don't know. How do we know that people ran and this? Okay, fine. Next, what happened to this plane? And then it got good. Much like we hear with the directed energy. They just tell you things. Well, what happens is you got your heat. What you do is you got your suborbital, you got your weapon system, and you fire it up, and you throw in your Agenda 21, and next thing you know, you got fire. I mean, they'll just make things up. George Keane and Seldom Seen says, you read my mind with that date, but I was thinking about the other building that we have never seen pictures of. Yes, indeed. Well, that's another one too. How do we know the name of the individual, the pilot? Hani Hanjour. How do you know that? Did he announce it? For the record, my name is Hani Hanjour. But what happened was, on the other side, people said, well, what happened was, you see, the plane was flying at such high speed that when it hit the ground, it just evaporated, atomized, was pulverized. It just shred into atomic, nothing was left. Nothing. 6-ton titanium engines, luggage carts, luggage, people, seats, windows, wire, wheels, wings, stabilizers, ailerons, magazines, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sam I Am says, I bet Sleepy Joe sends them more than $750 FEMA check. I don't know about that. It's a good question, though. I don't know. That money went to Ukraine. And I guess they're still paying Israel too, I would imagine. So anyway, so as this was happening, and I would ask people these questions, instead of people saying, that's a good question, or I didn't know, or, we'll look into that, they would just make stuff up. Well, you see what happens is when the plane nosedives, what are you talking about? What are you, and you work for the NTSB? No, I lay tile. But I know that when the plane, and they just said this, because they didn't like you destroying a narrative. Because people don't like to say, I don't know how this works. I have no idea. I've never seen one. I keep hearing about them. Ray guns. Remember the ray guns? Like Ronald Reagan. Remember that ray guns? And I guess. I don't know. I have no idea how they work. And then, as we got on, people would say, I'd say, the evidence is a little different. They found stuff elsewhere. And people would say, there you go again. Franco, ladies and gentlemen, Franco, 5065 says, thousands of acres are lost almost every year in California. Dry brush, Santa Ana winds, compounded by the mismanagement of forest dry brush and water reservoirs. The only surprise is why those responsible for not addressing preventative steps go unpublished. Franco, first of all, thank you so much, sir. But Franco, here's my question. Do you believe there always was dry brush? Sorry. If you think that there was a time when they would douse the area with water, I don't believe so. Our friend talks about a building happened to hit Army accounting office. Well, that was an interesting. It's funny, and also happened to hit the side that was reinforced versus the other side. But going back to what you said, and this is great, Franco, I would submit to you, dear friend, that there were years where they would say, we put out fires all the time. We put out fires. What, you think this just happens? We'll see, there's a fire. We'll put it out. There was a woman on, I forget where, she said, I wasn't afraid. We had a fire, okay. In Tampa, Florida, there used to have, you remember those really high, those perches where people, the forest people would just kind of look. They would have these towers you would look and see. This is different. This is a different story. What happened here? George Gidman, ladies and gentlemen, says, although historically contentious, I do find it interesting that many people of color call themselves Marxists. He is widely considered a racist, particularly in his work, Das Kapital, or was he just a man of his time? Well, I think that people are very, very a little loose with that term. I don't think they understand the notion of what that is. I will say, by the way, my friends, that the term is more of a class reference. The Supreme Court on the 9th, today, rejected President Trump's request to halt proceedings in the New York business records case, removing a potential barrier to sentencing scheduled for whatever it is. Now, listen, I want to say this again to you, and I want you to listen to me carefully. Don't worry about it. You just don't worry about it. He is not going to be sentenced to anything. They are going to just end it like it never happened. They're just going to end it. And what they're going to do is they're going to say that he was convicted, when in fact he wasn't, or convicted of something where there was no, I don't know what the word is, but they will claim he is convicted. So don't worry about it. Our good friend Pilgrim Media says scalar electromagnetic weapons could be in play. Scalar electromagnetic weapons? Well, could be in play. And what do they do? What do they do? What do they do? Supreme Court denies Trump's attempt, and the scheduling, January 10th. The application for stay presented to Justice Sotomayor and by her referred to the court is denied for, inter alia, among others, the following reasons. First, the alleged evidentiary violations that President-elect Trump's state court trial can be addressed in the ordinary course on appeal, which is true. There's no reason. Why would they want to stop this? What is the reason? What federal law? This is the way you speak. This is the way these guys think. These are the way the Supremes think. What federal law is being violated? Is there a federal question? Okay. Is this the only way to? No. I mean, well, what do you want me to do? I want you to stop it. Stop it. Why? Because he's a president. We'll appeal it. Have an emergency. It's a state court matter. It's not federal. What do we have to do with this? Well, you can't do it because he's a president. Why not? That's the way they're thinking. Believe me, it doesn't matter. I know it sounds terrible. It's more of a theoretical thing. It doesn't matter. I know it sounds very strange. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you. It doesn't matter. That's what his should be. His whole thing should be, are you bringing that up again? What exactly do you want from me? What exactly do you want? Tell me what you want. So anyway, I want to go back to this. I want to just go back to this. Because we have to talk about this. We keep saying there's something wrong. What happened was, I need to go to the people who were involved in the evidence. Why were there so many fires starting immediately over here? And how did those fires move down all the way to the coast, to Malibu from over here? What was it? Explain to me a post-mortem. Give me a review of this by somebody who is an expert in this. How did this happen? This doesn't make any sense. Why is there not the ability? Did you see this consumer whatever showcase or whatever? Did you see this stuff? NVIDIA's got this stuff, and they've got, do you see what they're doing? The future of, I want you to imagine this. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. And maybe you can help me too, because you're experts in this. But I have a very simple question. Let's assume that we have this particular area of the map. And right here, we notice there's a fire here and maybe here. Now, there were some questions about it starting 3 different places at the same time. One of those community correction pieces came up and said, no, you've got it wrong. Those were elsewhere. You've got 3 fires starting simultaneously someplace else. I want to know all about this. So here's the thing. When it happens, why can't they pick up the phone and say, send one of our tankers, that secure, whatever the aerial tanker, send one of those out there and drop water, douse the shit out of this particular area. It's right there. It's just very small. How do we know this? We have some drone people. We have a lot of rich people with drones, and we fly them all over the place. All over the place. We've got kids. We got people. They just, and they fly them out. And if they see a little bit of smoke, they fly over. They fly right over the smoke. They isolate the location. Next thing you know, here come the planes. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll have drones that are able to do it. Am I missing something? No. Stop saying the wind. Everybody promise. Raise your hand. Stop saying the wind. The wind is important. There always has been wind. They call it the Santa Ana winds. Franco says, our good friend Franco says, winds to high plains have been grounded. Winds to high plains have been grounded. Okay. Maybe now. Maybe, I guess now there's also problems that you can't see. Well, now are you kidding? You can't do anything. Answer me a question, Franco. Anybody. Fire starts. There it is. Drone or plane or somebody. I can go to, hey, listen, Gene Levy, Billy Crystal, everybody else. And Matt, can you all chip in? Yeah. We want to have surveillance around here to supplement the government, which isn't doing anything. And these DEI lesbians who aren't doing anything. All right. Anybody would do? Can you explain that to me? I don't get it. Don't tell me the wind. Don't tell me the wind. I love the wind. Well, it's the wind. Enough with the wind. We've always had wind. KZ says, is it possible they just want to have a felony conviction for future indictments, as he will no longer be a first-time offender? Maybe. Excuse me, but most probably he'll have this case overturned on appeal in state court, or even better, you will have the governor, Kathy Hochul, who will pardon him. George Keane says I missed one. Let me see. George Keane, The Machine. Let's see what George Keane has written that I have missed. George Keane says, maybe Melania's outfit means she is going to be nominated for next Supreme Court vacancy. George, George, you have a wit, and it's a gift. And it's a gift of a humor, a sense of humor, which is so laser-like. It's like a DEW death ray laser. It is so good. Please don't abuse that humor. Please don't abuse that sense. Never use it for anything harmful. You have been given a gift by God. Please don't forget that. And I mean that. Use it carefully and use it sparingly. And never do it when people are driving or making fine precision cuts, like during surgery. Don't make any jokes because lives could be lost. Well, here's the bottom line. Number one, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, hello. I speak on behalf of the conspiratorium. And I'm here to tell you, after giving this great, careful determination, we think it's all bullshit. Franco says fixed-wing tankers are for retardant stopping advance. Franco, I'm telling you, it's water or, I remember the SEAT, tanker. These are the air tank, single engine air tanker. They are still flying. They do retard, but they also do water. And they also do retardant, and they do a single engine air tanker, a seat, is a small aircraft that can carry up to 800 gallons of water or fire retardant to help firefighters. So, but here is the thing, my friend. I would say I'm in charge, and I don't give a goddamn what you call that thing. I want you to go fly over and drop this shit on this fire. And when you get done, you come back and fill up your tank with more of whatever the hell this stuff is. You see what I'm saying? You got that? George Keane, the mean machine, says, I appreciate the determination of the gift. Thank you. So here's the thing. I don't care what anybody's saying. Do not tell me. Just do not tell me. Well, the wind. No, we can't do that. You can't. No, if that fire starts, that's it. You just sit back and do nothing. Okay. And the water that was unavailable, that Mr. Gavin Newscomb diverted to protect the steelhead fish, whatever the hell that is. What about that? So let me just tell you something. I'm going to hold them responsible. And I'm going to say, listen, attention, all my friends, my Hollywood friends, you and Gene Levy, the genius, and Billy Crystal, and Paris Hilton, and a lot of people don't even know, producers and folks. All of you for the longest time are geniuses. You've enjoyed wealth. And you can do one of two things. Number one, you can do nothing. You can sit back and believe this nonsense, this bilge that's being thrown at you by this idiot, commie, Marxist, lunatic, dumb shit mayor. You can do that. It's up to you. You can do that. Or this absolutely sexually ambiguous, lying sack o' shite governor, Newscomb. You can do that as well. When he's more interested in steel heads and that kind of stuff, you can do that. It's up to you. Or you can raise a holy stink. You can tomorrow say, we represent, the same way you did that stuff when you did this, we are the world. Remember that? We are the world. Where'd the money for that go? Oh, I don't know. Farm Aid, bless Willie, I don't know where that money went either. But if all of a sudden you put all of your resources and said, we are hereby going to hold this administration, Joe Biden and this mayor and this governor responsible for this. We have had enough. And we are not doing it merely because of this, but for the longest time, we've been held hostage. Now listen, we went along with this bullshit about, you're the gender trans. Okay, some of us were so good. Look like, who was it? Warren Beatty's kid and Angelina Jolie's kid. And who was it? Another one's kid. And all these kids, this incredible outbreak. I never knew how many trans kids there were. You know what happened. They sacrificed their kid. They basically, they castrated and cut off and destroyed kids in order to, either because of some blood oath or, I have no idea, some Moloch, Baphomet, weird black magic. Who knows? They did that. For years, they put up with that nonsense about climate change. Okay, we did that. Then we all came out for Joe Biden. Okay, we did that. Like, where's George Clooney? Where's George Clooney? Where is he? I don't know. But we're officially telling you right now that this is garbage. Okay? And we've had enough. And we are hereby pulling away from this. Because guess what? You just destroyed the entire, this is called Hollywood. Most of the people in the business, they can't do the Academy Awards. They can't do this. They can't do the nominations. You just destroyed the people that you used to basically bolster and promulgate and propagate and promote your lies. Let me say this again. You destroyed and forever angered and forever walloped the people you needed for years. We hate you now. We officially break from you now. You destroyed everything. You didn't even help us. You didn't even care. I mean, we've done a lot of bad stuff for you in the past, and we knew what we were doing. But now you don't even care what we're doing. You don't even care about what we think. You don't even care about our homes, our lives, our families, our pets, our memories, everything after we gave it all for you. We're officially breaking. And what's going to happen? What? What's going to happen? You think the studios are going to care? No, because the studios, they themselves are affected. Let me say this again. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's an expression in Latin. They stepped on their dick. They did something which was so stupid. The only thing left they had was Hollywood. The only thing. Nobody cares about North Carolina. Nobody cares about East Palestine or Palestine. What am I trying to say? Nobody cares about that bridge. Remember that bridge that was hit? DC? Nobody cares about that. But Hollywood? You did this to Hollywood? Oh, yeah. Lahaina? Okay, fine. You did that here? What's the matter with you? Northern California? Okay, we don't live there. Okay, fine. Here? You did this to us? Yeah. And here's the best part. Remember the story. It's my nature. It's the oldest joke in the world, one of the oldest. Little frog standing on the side of the river. A scorpion comes up and says, Mr. Frog, would you do me a favor? Would you take me across the river? I'm going to jump on the back and you... What? Would you swim across the river? I'll jump on your back and I appreciate it. The frog said, what are you, nuts? I'm going to swim across the river and you're going to sting me. And the scorpion says, that's stupid. Why would I sting you? If I sting you, you die, I drown, you drown. It's stupid. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, you're right. All right, jump on board. Halfway across, sure enough, scorpion stings him. And just as he's about to go under, the frog kind of turns his head, which is impossible, and says, why'd you do that? And the scorpion says, it's my nature. That's who these people are. They don't have any affiliation with anybody. Well, anybody. They love to see you go crazy. They said, do you see this? Did you see that Lionel Nation show? These poor bastards, they can't figure out anything. They don't know. They think it's the energy weapons. Do we have an energy weapon? No. But they think it's an energy weapon. Okay. Well, you know how they are. I know. They thought those big buildings in New York, remember they weren't underneath? They thought they were underneath. And what was that woman, Dr. So-and-so? They're going crazy. You got the left and the right. And the left, they don't know what to do. They're crying and screaming and yelling. And it's so screwed up, James Woods is on CNN. How about that? Why'd you do it? It's our nature. But you destroyed the people who, yeah. Isn't that stupid? Yeah. Why? It's our nature. You can only screw the people you know. You can only screw your friends. Enemies won't let you get near them. This is our nature. We don't care about this. We don't care about anything. We don't have an affiliation. We love this. We're sadistic. We love it. Money's one thing, but sometimes we just like to mix things up. And we want to give Mr. Trump a lot of leeway to have fun, maybe to reconfigure this thing. I don't know. Elon's been very quiet. Elon put up a picture on X about Diet Coke. My friends, I love a Diet Pepsi like anybody, but that is the last thing I would drink. I mean, there is no, you don't have enough time to go through Diet Coke or Diet, and not just the aspartame, but that's beside the point. You understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Have I lent expertise? George Keane, Franco, you son of a gun, you Franco, your kindness is noted, sir. George Keane, the Mean Machine, K2, thank you. Pilgrim Media, George Gidman, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Mr. George Gidman playing center field. Again, Franco, 5065. You know what the square root of 5065 is, don't you? I have no idea. Sam, I am. Very interesting. That's the full retard reference. George Keane, I said that. I think I mentioned that before. Let me see. Nelson A, I thank you. Let me see this. Warren Ocasio, ladies and gentlemen. She also goes as Warren Ocasio-Cortez. He also goes by that name. And let me see. Christo Staver, oh, the honey man. 78 years old today, my friend. Looking great, looking fantastic. He's so terrific. So that's where we are, my friend. We're going to see this. This is going to be the end of DEI as we know it. This is going to be the end of DEI. It is so done. It is so finished. It is so through. But it'll be replaced with something else called something else. They're going to call it another thing. But they're not, because DEI had nothing to do with helping anybody. It was just to screw things up. My friends, I thank you. I ask you, please, Mrs. L's birthday is 10 days from now. Inauguration is 11 days by now, for now. And it would mean the most to me if you would subscribe to her channel at Lynn's Warriors. I want to give her 10,000. I want to give her 10,000. She works her butt off to get the word. You have no idea. We're not going to go into the background stuff, but a lot of people do not like the subject matter because she's looking out for kids, and they don't like that. So it means a lot if you would subscribe to her immediately. And do me a favor. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but sometimes I find myself, and I find that all of a sudden, people are unsubscribed to me. I don't know what this thing is. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, who's unsubscribing? It'll go like this, and it goes like that. It's like, wait a minute. I don't understand this. I don't unsubscribe from people. I swear to God I don't. I don't understand who's doing this. They don't like, not they, but they don't like what we're doing. Don't you understand this? I piss everybody off, and that's the way it should be. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to sit there and say, oh, I don't go along with everybody just because people say, oh, that's terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, LJ Jackson became a YouTube member. LJ, thank you so much. LJ, thank you. I don't know what it is. They hate us. So do me a favor right now. Lionel Nation, if you're not subscribed to it, what the hell's the matter with you? If you are subscribed, make sure you still are. I'm telling you something. I promise every day to tell you the truth and bust as many balls as I can. If I think it's true. If that's the way it is, I don't care. It's who I am. Remember, it's my nature to tell the truth, and that always gets me in trouble. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as usual. Please, there's plenty of viewed videos to watch. Kind of had a hell of a day today. All right, my friends, until we see each other again, remember these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.